Hi guys, so seeing as it's almost the end of 2011, I thought I'd make a little video talking about some of my favourite shows that I saw this year. Now this year was a very good year for me, theatre-wise. I got to see a lot of shows, more than I ever expected to see really. I got to revisit a lot of my old favourites, as well as seeing some very good new shows too. In this video I'm just going to give my top 5 list of the new musicals that I saw this year, and it is only going to be about musicals because although I do see plays every now and then, I don't see nearly enough to be able to kind of give a list or put them in order or anything. So yeah. I also want to point out that this is going to be my top 5 favourite new shows that I saw in 2011, so some of these shows may not necessarily be new, but it was my first time seeing them this year, so I'm still going to count them as new. Right, so we're going to start with number 5, and on number 5 we have Ghost the musical. I saw the show on its opening night, the premiere, the press night or whatever, in July, and I absolutely loved it. I was so amazed by it. I still, whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, that was just wow. I think more than anything, it was because of the effects and special effects and the way everything was set on stage, that it just really, literally amazed me. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to go back to see it for a second time yet, so I don't know. I mean, I still remember the whole first experience really well, but I would really like to see it again before the cast go to Broadway, because it's actually going to Broadway, opening in Broadway soon next year, and I really want to see the original cast again before they go, Richard and Casey, because as much as I'm excited about seeing Siobhan, Dylan and Mark Evans, who are going to be taking over on January the 14th, I think, I do really want to see Richard again, especially because I thought he was perfect in the role of Sam. So yeah, that's my number 5. At number 4 we've got She Loves Me, which was at the Minerva Theatre in Chichester for the Chichester Festival back in the summer basically. And I've made a review of that. I'm going to put a little link to it somewhere in the description box. Obviously that's not on anymore, it was only on for a limited time, and but yeah, during that time I got to see it quite a few times and I absolutely loved it. I mentioned it in my original review as well, but the main reason that I went to go and see this musical in the first place was because Diane Pilkington was in it and I'm a big fan of her. But then when I saw the show, I ended up becoming a massive fan of the show itself, and then I wanted to go back and see it, again and again. But I only got to see it, I think, about 3 times. But I enjoyed absolutely every single visit, and I still think it's an amazing musical. One thing I really liked about the show was the songs. I thought it had some really, really nice songs, and the way it was set as well, because the theatre's quite weird, the Minerva Theatre. It's like, the audience are basically sat around the stage, so it's not like a typical stage. You basically have audiences facing each other, so it's like the way it was done was really weird, and the stage was quite small as well, so it was just like I really enjoyed the creativity gone to that show, and I'd love to see that show somewhere in the West End maybe, but preferably in a theatre similar to the Minerva Theatre. Like, I don't think it would work in a massive theatre. Anyway, moving on to number 3. At number 3 we've got The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Now again with this show, I did make a review about it a while ago, and unfortunately I don't think many people actually got to see this show. I mean, it was one of those shows that I still feel like it was a bit unfair the way it got treated. I'm definitely going to say and agree that it was a Marmite show. I don't think that absolutely everyone that went to see it was going to like it, because it wasn't a very typical musical at all in any way, and but yeah, I think that it should have. I wish that it had been in the West End for longer than. I think it was only on for about maybe 2 months, and in those 2 months not very many people got the chance to see it really, I think, because it wasn't selling well anyway, even in those 2 months, and I feel like it's a big shame, because I feel like if more people had a chance to see it and had given it the chance it deserved, they may have enjoyed it, because if you don't open up yourself to kind of new shows and musicals, you never know if you're going to enjoy new types of shows. You have to give it a chance at first and then see if you like that kind of thing, and I don't think many people did that with The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I don't think it was advertised very well, and I don't think the way they did it was very clear, because I think a lot of people kind of saw the posters and just weren't very sure what the show was even about. I mean, I know it's based on a film, and the film Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but still it wasn't very clear, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it failed. But I personally absolutely loved that show. I think it was one of the most beautiful shows I've ever seen. It was just, I loved it. It was just so unique, and everything on stage was beautiful. I really miss that show, and I don't think we'll be seeing it again anytime soon, unfortunately, because it didn't do very well. But I really do hope that there's a future for it somewhere, because I just loved it. It really connected with me. I was a massive fan of that show. At number 2, we've got The Kissing Dance. This was at the German Street Theatre back in March/April, and this was a small scale kind of, you know, not very big musical, because the German Street Theatre itself is very small, it's literally tiny. But yeah, the initial reason that I went to see it was Gina Beck, because I was a massive fan of her and I really wanted to see her in it. But I ended up absolutely loving the show. I still sometimes look back on those 2 times that I got to see The Kissing Dance, and it makes me smile so much, because it reminds me of all the joy that the musical brought to me and all the happiness. I mean, because it was a very witty show, and it was just so funny and so enjoyable to watch with fantastic music. Yeah, it's just, the humour in it was amazing, and also the music was by Howard Goodall, who's also written Love Story, and I'm a massive fan of Love Story as well, and I just think he's a brilliant songwriter. And yeah, I love that show, and hopefully again there'll be a chance to see this show at some other time in the future, because it was a great show with a fantastic cast as well, I have to mention that. I mean, Gina Beck was obviously in it. They also had Gemma Sutton, Beverly Klein, Dylan Turner, who are all in other West End shows now, which is fantastic, really exciting. Gina's in Wicked now, Gemma's in Legally Blonde, Dylan is in Rock of Ages. But yeah, that was definitely one of the most enjoyable, just heartwarming shows that I've seen this year, and I really do miss it. So it's finally time for my number 1 show of 2011, and not surprisingly, I'm gonna have to say that number 1 goes to Love Story. Yes, I'm pretty sure you're all sick of me by now for going on and on about this show, but I seriously, genuinely think that Love Story was and is the most beautiful musical ever. That doesn't mean it's the best musical, but it was just so wonderful and beautiful. The way, I mean, everything about it was so perfect, and it really annoys me again that it didn't win as many awards. In fact, it didn't win any awards as far as I know, and it didn't really get the recognition that it deserved to get, and because it was amazing. Now, Love Story also started out at the Chichester Festival in 2010, but I didn't get to see it then, unfortunately, and it kind of opened in the West End last November in 2010, but again, I didn't actually manage to get to see it until January this year, so January of 2011, so I still kind of consider it a new show of this year. I kind of do regret it. I mean, I wish I'd seen it before, because then I would have had a chance to see it more times. I only got to see it twice, but yeah, those 2 times I'll never ever forget. The music in that show is just so beautiful, so stunning, and I know I keep saying it, and I'm so sorry, I'm sure I'm getting really annoying now, but it really was just so lovely, and I definitely recommend that you try and get the soundtrack or the cast recording of that show if you can. Even if you didn't see the show, it's definitely worth kind of listening to, because it was just so beautiful. And Howard Goodall's definitely become one of my favourite composers now. I just love his work. So yeah, those were my top 5 musicals that I saw in 2011 for the first time. That's a long title, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested to see more of my top 5s of 2011 theatre-wise, I posted a blog on my blog, because I do actually have a blog that I sometimes post on, which I'm going to link to again in the description thingy down there. It basically has things like my top 5 performers of 2011, my top 5 songs, new theatre songs basically that I heard for the first time this year, and other things. I got this kind of survey thing off someone on Facebook, one of my friends, and I posted it on Facebook the other day, and because my Facebook is private, because I'd rather keep it to people that I actually know, you can't see it on there, so I decided to post it on my blog as well. So yeah, if you want to kind of know a bit more about my theatre year, you can check that out. One other thing that I want to mention in this video is my theatrical event of the year, and this was quite a hard one because a lot of amazing kind of unique theatre related stuff happened this year, such as like the Phantom of the Opera's 25th anniversary, Wicked's 5th birthday celebrations, which I went to and it was fantastic. Kerry Ellis had her 2 Royal Albert Hall gigs earlier in the year, which were again amazing. But for me, the theatrical event of the year has to go to Soho Cinders. And I know you're probably looking at me right now going, what? But basically, Soho Cinders is this new musical that's never really been kind of performed on an actual stage, it's never been staged properly. But they did a concert of it back in, I think it was October, at the Queen's Theatre, which is where Les Mis is at, for one night only, and I got to see it, and it was just amazing. Seriously, the music in that is just amazing. It's written by Stiles and Drew, who have done shows like Betty Blue Eyes before, and I love their work and their music in it. I had an album, or some of the songs I'd listened to before I even got to see the show, because they recorded some of them with other actors. I never really knew anything about the plot, so it was kind of nice to see it in concert, and it was just great. And hopefully one day it will actually become into an actual musical on stage. That would be really, really good. And the cast that did it at the concert were amazing as well. So I would definitely again recommend that you go and check out the CD, because there is a cast recording of that concert that I went to, and you can listen to their songs because it's brilliant. And for me, it was my highlight of my theatre shows this year. Anyway, sorry again for rambling on and on about nothing. I shall hopefully see you in the new year. Happy New Year, and yeah, bye.